Hello and welcome to Chamber Chat, Caroline County Chamber of Commerce's way to connect with its members. I'm Tracey Snyder, the Executive Director, and we're so excited to have Debbie Bowden, Economic Development Director for Caroline County, here as our guest today.
Thank you, Tracey, and thanks so much for inviting me. This is exciting. I'm so happy that you've been doing this for the business community. So Caroline County Economic Development is really the office that reports to the county commissioners on all things economic development. So for those of you who don't know, economic development is typically business retention, attraction, expansion, working with partners like the Chamber and others on workforce development, anything that a business needs that's starting up or that already exists or is looking at Caroline County or one of the towns to come in and set up their business. So we just help businesses get over any challenges that they may have, either at the local, county, or state level, to make it better for them to do business, have their place here, and create jobs.
Yeah, and we really appreciate the partnership with the Economic Development Office and you, Debbie. It's been really great for the 2 years I've been here at the Chamber. So glad to have you here. So with that, one of the things that I wanted to start with is just how just the directive of what you've been doing during COVID, how things have changed for you. It's major. You've done so much for us as a community, we know. So share a little bit with how that changed and what's happening with just that direction so far with things changing with COVID.
Sure. So I think one of the things that we see, just like any business, is that we had to be flexible and we had to be agile. So when the county stood up its response to the pandemic, Caroline County Economic Development was a partner in that. We helped with the liaison work. So there was a lot of communication that had to go on. And we communicated with the business community, with nonprofits, with churches. And I had a great team to help out with that. And we just kept that because it's hard to believe a year and 3 months later how everything changed quite quickly. And so everything from, hey, there is a pandemic, to the governor's directives to have occupancy changes, to mask wearing, everything that happened to the business, we were there to help communicate that. And then when we discovered that, there was going to be a real economic impact, not only a public health impact, but an economic impact, we were very fortunate that the county commissioners said, hey, let's get this money out to our local community, out to our local businesses so that they could survive, however that looked. In March, we thought it would be June. In June, we thought it would be September. And so we were fortunate enough to get out into the business community, local Caroline County-based businesses, over $2.5 million in grants to help people keep their doors open. And so we hear a lot from those businesses that say, without that, we wouldn't have gone over that impact of the economic impact of COVID. That ended at the end of December, and then we've had some other programs that we've put out there. Again, grant-wise, we're just finishing up something for restaurants. We'll have a nonprofit grant coming out online soon. But we've been helping those established businesses and their issues, and then new businesses. In the last 3 or 4 months, we've had probably 8 inquiries about new businesses coming into our office. So we're here to help them and navigate what looks like it's getting back to normal, but there's just some new things that the COVID response showed us that we're helping businesses understand and get through.
Absolutely, and the Chamber, we supported all of the changes as much as we could, and some people may be surprised that there's still new business coming in, but there is.
Oh, yeah.
The Chamber sees it. We work with you closely, as I know we suggest you suggest us. So and there's still new business, so that's encouraging and exciting. And I know some of the businesses that are Chamber members that were helped and received some of those grants. It really did get them over the hump. I know there was that brief period last year where it was really difficult, right? And I'd say May May, June, July was when you guys stepped in and the county stepped in and really helped, and
Yes.
and it made a huge impact. I know that it
Right.
did. So with that, talking about that, can you give us an overview of how Caroline County has weathered COVID and how long you think that recovery economically, right, might take? Just to kind of get us, I know we're still in it. We don't want to pretend like we're not still involved in it. But how long do you think it might take for Caroline County to bounce back, if you will?
So I think we're bounced. I think we're back. From all data indications, our unemployment is low. It's lower than state average. So that means jobs are being created. If jobs are not being filled, that's the other issue. That's really where businesses are suffering, everywhere from the one person sole proprietor that wants to just bring on an intern or part-time help, up to our larger employer, Dark Container. Everybody is struggling to find help. And so I think that the recovery, we've gotten through the worst of the pandemic direct response, and that impacted a lot of our restaurants, of course, and the small retailers. And they're coming back online, and they were there. If they got help from the county, they were able to be stable, but they're building back their stability. Not 100%. There were a few that took a hit and had to close their doors. But for the most part, in general, businesses in the county are bouncing back, have bounced back. But the biggest issue is going to be that the workers and the productivity. I've had many a conversation with businesses that are big and small say, if we can't get the workforce and we can't put in other ways of producing our product or selling our service, we may have to do something, whatever that may be, scale back, close the doors, move elsewhere, although this worker shortage issue is nationwide. So it's really, there's no place to go and find workers. So I think that as far as from COVID response, the occupancy restrictions, the mask mandate, we're seeing that bounce back. The next level is how can we get through this hump of making sure that productivity stays where it needs to because of workers.
Exactly, and we do hear that through the chamber too. I mean, I see who's hiring, a lot of people are, and you're right, it is nationwide, it doesn't matter where you go. Hopefully we're going to see that give here soon. I know that some of the handouts for unemployment are going to be kind of relinquished, and hopefully that's going to help people maybe be less fearful to come back to the workplace, and we're going to see some. I do know, like I've said, Caroline is this beautiful secret, and people that live here or work here truly do love being here.
Right.
And I don't think these businesses want to pack up and go somewhere anyway. They like where they are, and that's just, it's a team effort, right? From the commissioners to the county to the towns, it's really just a wonderful place to be. I know I love it, and I know that most of the businesses that are in our membership that you work with as well love it too.
Yes.
So that's exciting, and it's exciting news. In the chamber, we're seeing the same thing of what you're saying. So it's wonderful to know that, and just wanted to get a feedback from you. So can you give me what you felt your biggest challenges and surprises were as you worked through this unprecedented time?
So I think it was a challenge that was easy to overcome, but as I mentioned, early in the pandemic response, things change, sometimes hourly, sometimes daily. And those changes, those impacts had quite an impact on businesses. So making sure that we got the message out, that it was the official authoritative message, and that it was out quickly, was the challenge that because we had no processes already in place. We had volunteer staff. On the liaison team, it was myself, Leslie Brendan from Planning and Codes, Crystal Dads from Planning and Codes, Stacy Pindell, Dr. Derek Simmons was on our group, Beth Beals, a lot of folks who weren't in the communications arena stepped up and knew that what they had to do was serve the community, serve the business community, the churches, the nonprofits, the individuals, by getting that message out there. So there was no playbook. So we were doing it on the fly. it didn't take us long because we had a great group of people who were dedicated to that. Then outside of that, it was still the unknown. So, you mentioned June, July. I would say that by Memorial Day, people and the restrictions started to loosen a little bit. We thought, okay, maybe we're over this. Would there be a second wave? And of course, as we were talking about the economic recovery, we had not been yet through a first wave. So we were looking at that and planning for the future, but it was the unknown. And councilperson for Denton, Keith Johnson, I want to give him a shout out because he said to me, a lot of the businesses are one pen stroke away from being closed forever. And so that type of uncertainty as a business owner and then as a representative of the county trying to help those businesses, that was probably the biggest challenge. And so we just, again, being flexible, being agile, knowing that whatever came our way, we had to move to help the business community. That was challenging, but then it ended up being the most rewarding. And we're still going through that, even though COVID as a public health emergency seems to be at bay, and the recovery is continuing and we're bouncing back. What's around the horizon? Had we had this conversation in June of 2019, none of us would have imagined the year of 2020. So we're hoping that that was a business calling me. We're hoping that, we're seeing that recovery through the rest of 2021 and into 2022.
Yeah, and I have no doubt about that. And, again, the unknown, it was literally minute by minute. Sometimes it seemed like one thing would come out and then within the hour, something else came out.
Yeah.
And the team, again, you guys just sprang into action. It was definitely a county-wide, everybody kind of just worked together.
Yeah.
It was impressive indeed. And, just makes you even more proud to be here and to be a part of something like that. So we talked about what's happening and we're looking at, the economy as we bounce back, and we know that there's still some that are kind of maybe lagging. Who do you think has recovered the quickest, and who do you think, as far as just overall business, we don't want to point fingers, just overall, retail, restaurants, who do you think is kind of going to take a little bit longer to come back?
Again, I think as sectors, right, retail, hospitality, restaurants, they're coming back. Are they pre-COVID? No, but they are steadily increasing by all indications, again, on the data and people that I talk to. So I think that what I'd like to say is if somebody's listening and has had a particularly hard time and feels as though they're not bouncing back, reach out to me because, there's programs and there's things that we can do to help with that because I really think much as it was pre-COVID, we're seeing the struggles be individualized. Again, as sectors, there's been a lot of help. There continues to be a lot of help. So I don't know that I can say that one sector still needs overall more help than another. Manufacturing, transportation, logistics, agriculture, those are our base for the county, and they were fine during COVID. They had to also be agile. They also had to change some things to prepare and be ready for the public health side to make sure their workers were safe and their customers were safe. So those sectors are okay, and they're pulling up the rest of the sector. So again, I think it's more of an individualized type of, if a business is struggling, and if they were struggling before COVID, we're here. That's why we're here, to help them.
Excellent. So what has been and will continue to be the best resources to you and your office along the way? What have been the best resources that you guys have utilized?
Oh, that we've utilized? I want to say again, the CARES funding, the federal funding that came out, that really was able to have us seed our grant program and get that $2.5 billion out. The state provided with some funding for hospitality, for restaurants, and that was good too. Again, let businesses get over those humps. And then our partnerships, certainly with the chamber, but then we also partner with the Small Business Development Center, with SBA, with the Maryland Department of Commerce, Department of Housing and Community Development. Every agency has what they can do to help out a business on an individual basis, and we continue those partnerships. And we had them before and it was good, and now again, just like everything else, post-COVID response, we're seeing such those partnerships kind of tightened up and strengthened. And so I think those are our best resources, our partnerships and our network that we're using.
Yeah, so if you didn't have a playbook before, you do now, and with those deep relationships and partnerships now in play, something like this comes back. There is a playbook,
right?
And there is a way to help. And again, I can't say enough just working with the businesses in the community, how much those resources have helped, and just keeping those businesses open and that support coming back. It seemed like those that were strong wanted to support those that weren't.
Yeah.
And it just really was. I'm sure it's happened in other places, but not as much as in ours.
Nope, not as good as in Caroline County.
I agree completely, and we're so glad. Just recently, we talked about this before, we had 5 Greensboro businesses join the chamber, so we're excited about, because we're here in Greensboro, excited about that growth, excited about seeing what's happening all over the county, not in just specific areas, but all over. And that's your goal, right? And that's the chamber's goal, it's the county goal, the commissioner's goal, it's all of our goal to continue that. So I'm gonna ask this question. It's kind of an interesting one. Is there a common myth about your role or about your job that you'd like to debunk or talk about? Because I think it's fun. Sometimes people think, one of the things I've learned as a new director is I went into a business thinking I knew what they were all about and completely found out I didn't. So
right.
I go in with an open mind. So is there anything you want to debunk or tell people about as far as your role?
Sure. So I think there's 2 things actually. One is that I'm not a regulatory agency, right? So there's nothing on my side. I don't do permits. I don't do business license, that type of thing. I have the resources. I can put you in contact with everybody that you need to talk to. So as a new business or a growing business, I get a lot of calls from folks that are like, can you do this with me or for me? And now mine is not a regulatory division. And the other thing is that there are deep pockets and a lot of money to be spent outside of COVID, not from Caroline County. We have a great legacy small business loan program that can help new businesses or expanding businesses. But going back to those partnerships, when a business is looking for the capital that it needs, I work with my partners. And those partners are the typical departments that are at the state level, Department of Commerce or Department of Housing and Community Development, but also the community banks. They're great partnerships. There's a lender that's based in Salisbury that's very helpful, Maryland Capital Enterprises. So again, we can be a partner in helping a business that needs that capital need, but we're not, our pockets are, we're Caroline County and we're great. But we don't have we don't have the deep pockets like some of the other counties do on the Western Shore. So I think that's probably the key one that I'd like to say. I'm here to help, and I will help you get the best deal that you can.
Excellent. And I think that's good because I know that, steering them in the right direction, the resources you have are excellent, but for them to come to you and be like, give me everything I need.
Right.
So it's good to know exactly that. And for the longest time, it was just you running the department,
right.
running the office. So, wasn't a lot of staff. Now you do have some people because of all of the expansion of the things, the
right.
tasks that you've been doing with COVID and everything. So, it's just a lot of people just aren't understanding. So it's good to introduce them to you and let them know. Can you give us an idea of what your office is working on right now? I mean, we're in June, right? We're halfway through 2021. We're holding our breaths and, trying to push through. So what's your office working on right now? Anything you want to share?
Yeah, so as I said, economic development typically is business retention, expansion, and attraction. And so we've got projects in all 3 of those places. I hesitate on sharing anything because confidentiality is a keystone of our business. So, but we've got several projects that are bringing in some great growth, both on investment side and also on the job side for Caroline County. I mentioned working with several small businesses and supporting them, and that's a process that when a business owner is ready to do that, we are there to help them. It's just not done in a day, and so we appreciate and really look forward to working with somebody who's just starting out from an idea and taking it all the way forward. I've got a strategic plan that we'll be introducing hopefully by the end of this month, if not the 1st of July. And really, strategic plan, I've struggled with what to call it. It's strategies that my office will take to continue supporting business growth in Caroline County. And I'm really looking forward to putting that out there and letting people know this is the vision for 5 years. So yeah, I think those are the key things that we're working on in the office. And as I said, we're finishing up some grant work. Yeah, so
that's exciting. Yeah, your year starts July 1, right? You start your new fiscal year July 1.
That's correct.
So you're diligently working on finalizing all of that, and it's exciting. And I know that you do also closely work with the businesses that have apprenticeship programs and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it's just keeping things moving, and everyone offers those, but we do as well, and we want people to know that those programs are available, and even some businesses, whether they're large or small, may want to offer those. So it's just a really good thing. Anything else that we have not discussed that you want to address or touch on?
Well, I just realized as I was talking about partners, is the Office of Tourism, which was a previous podcast guest, Tara Corsi. So our office works really closely with the Office of Tourism, and even more so with COVID, because it's the tourism-based businesses, those visitor-based businesses that took the biggest hit during COVID. And so, we continue working with her, and it's exciting to have that energy come into the county and talk about visiting in all kinds of realms, historic, heritage, natural, etc. And so I guess that would be the last thing I would want to mention, is that we look forward to our continued partnership with the Office of Tourism.
Yeah, it is exciting. Tara was a great guest, and just her vision and plan, and it's exciting because I believe Caroline County has a lot of diversity when it comes to tourism, and as you economically help build and help these businesses start, it's only going to grow from there. So the last signature question I'd like to ask is, what does working in Caroline County mean to you?
It's the culmination of my career. I've had a diverse career trajectory. I've been everything from part of a family business. Well, actually I started in a newspaper, which was a family business, was part of my own family business, worked for the state of Maryland, was participating in the transportation sector, and then the consulting sector and economic development. And so working in Caroline County, it means a lot to me. As I said, it's the culmination of my career to be in this role. But it also brings me home. So my mother was from Caroline County, and she and my father, may they rest in peace, are just down the road in the cemetery. And it really, even though I've never lived here, it really feels like home. There's no other place that fits my own personal values, both professionally and personally, than Caroline County. And just the sense of the people, the sense of place, it's fantastic. So it means being home here in Caroline County.
Couldn't agree with you more. I've only been here 15 years, but it does definitely is at home. And we want to thank you, Debbie, for coming in, and as we grow this podcast, and I want to just keep bringing guests on like you, and we're going to share this with everyone. But we want to thank you for taking the time. We want to thank Gift to Guy Media. Gift to Guy Media is an affiliate of the Jones Aggregate. Their number is 302-505-0569. They're on 100 South Main Street in Greensboro. A Gift to Guy, your memories matter. And Debbie, if you want to give your email too, or your website, if people want to kind of look up more about economic development, You can do that as well.
Probably the easiest thing is carolinebusiness.com. So carolinebusiness.com, you can find my contact information. Tracey, thank you for inviting me. This has been great. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, and everybody have a great day.